Oh, I gotta update the stream decker. Alright, so Abzan Knights. We've played a little bit of Black-White Knights that seems pretty reasonable. I'm poor and sad. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. Thanks for the sub-train, folks. Hope everyone's having a good weekend wherever you're at. Thanks for dropping in here today. Between having good mana from Shocks and Buddylands, and then Unclaimed Territory giving us a kind of free splash, the Knight of Autumns are really interesting. The Assure Assemble is... I don't know if this is good or not. I guess the tokens it makes are Knights, so these see synergy from the rest of our Knight synergies, which is kind of interesting. And then the Assure half of this is really easy to cast because it's white-green split, right? So all of our non-unclaimed territories cast this. So let's give this a go. The only thing I'm not sure of, looking at the main deck at a glance, I'm not sure if I like only having 2 main deck Midnight Reaper, but we'll see how it goes. And the other decks that we've played where we had the other decks I've played where we had other knights surrounding History of Benalia, that always felt really powerful. This deck's got a lot of knights surrounding History of Benalia. Standard Elves, do you think Jund with Assassin Elf plus Rhythm of the Wild or stay in 2 colors? I haven't played it with both. There's actually a Jund build in the queue we're gonna get to at some point, but I've not played both yet to have a good feel on like if it adds worthwhile consistency or not. I think I'm gonna bottom this Knight of Grace here, just because I want both a 3rd and 4th land with this hand, and I also want to give myself like the best chance to like find a History of Benalia ASAP. I mean, like, so just like basic math. Someone who said Unclaimed Territory is too bad with History of Benalia. If you're familiar with Frank Karsten's math article, and if you're not, I'd encourage you to get familiar with it. While I'm not saying it's never going to be an issue, because obviously sometimes it's going to come up and variance rears its ugly head. With 4 Unclaimed Territories, we still have 19 white sources in our deck, which means we have more than the recommended number of lands to like cast History of Benalia and turn 3 over 90% of the time. I believe it's 18 gets you 90+% of the time there. Look at that. We bottomed that card with the comment that I wanted to give myself the best possible chance to hit History on 3. And lo and behold, we hit History on 3. This article here on Channel Fireball, oh, if I could type, will get you the numbers for building mana bases. So unless they're a deafening Clarion deck, we should be in a pretty good spot here. Howdy, Delta. Yeah, we are pretty well off at this point. Gosh, if we hit a land, we get to stick Valiant Knight next turn. We have 1 tapped land in our deck, I suppose. Ooh, that's really good. All right, well, I'm going to play this and destroy this history here. And then, do I just exile this so I can attack with everything next turn? I think I do, right? I think I just like do this off of these 4, attack them for 2. Nod no quick, insert generic comment about this being my longest relationship, 1 month to sub baby beeps, etc. Thanks for the 8 months, welcome back. So like this is super aggressive here. Yeah, Unclaimed Territory is as good as Overgrown Tomb at casting it, and most notably Unclaimed Territory casts Benalish Marshal, which is pretty important. Do I want more Midnight Reapers in a matchup like this? I probably do want Midnight Reaper in creature-based matchups, right? Just like more ways to trade in combat. I guess Assure's kind of cute for trading in combat too, though. Yeah, I'm gonna trim one of those. I'm gonna trim these 2 and bring in the extra Reapers. I took your Black-White Angels, the Light Green Splash for Finality, and Relic Seeker to Magic Festivity to 12-2 finish. Awesome, sweet. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I think we're going to try... I think there's an Abzan Angels build in the queue at some point, but that core in general is very strong, I agree. This hand's a little bit awkward because, like, both of these lines are tapped at the moment, but the spells are good, so I'm going to keep, and hopefully we'll draw a plains. No, all the rankings are just one. They're all built on into the same thing. Huh. So, because they have this, I think I just want to get a first strike creature into play here right away. Let's go ahead and get Knight of Malice, because it'll be a 3-2 with the Amara being a white creature. That's not true, Delta. They patched that yesterday. They've been patching things very, very quickly in this application. Well, having a bunch of 3-2 first strikers is really good in the face of History of Benalia. Wonder if my opponent's playing Naya tokens. That's a little bit what it's looking like, right? I've not played Radiant Destiny. I feel like I'd be a hard sell on that being better than the other 3-drops that we play. Like, this archetype has a lot of good 3s you can put in it. Alright, so I think I just go Unclaimed Territory here on Knight. And then I'm going to go Knight of Autumn, destroy their Conclave Tribunal. Because if I get my other first striker back, I don't really care about this history popping off. I'm going to go ahead and protect one of my knights. Mods can see users' last messages now. So if you get a message from someone who's banned, type /user and then their username in chat, and you'll be able to see their message history. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the team tournaments for coverage, especially since they're not doing, what's it called? They're not doing, time-shifted matches because of the team tournament. Seems real loose. So if they attack with both of these, I literally just get to, like, eat one of them and then take 4s. That seems really good for me. Sweet. So, tapped land. Let's bump Electro End. That deck is gas. Thank you for the bits, Full Metal Adept. Will do. I think I'd rather play Midnight Reaper and then a Bodyguard to protect it. And then next one I can stick Valiant Knight and start attacking, maybe. Although, giving this Indestructible doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, I agree. Playing in them lost its wonder too. They like flooded the market and there were just a bunch of them and it got kind of medium. Yeah, green black crisis is just the Sultai midrange deck. Alright, so do I want a Conclave Tribunal something here? I feel like I do, right? I think I'm gonna use this Conclave Tribunal. And get my thing back, and then this sets us up for a big attack next turn, activating this to give double strike. I think Settle here is reading too much into it. I think there's a good chance they just, like, don't have any other plays. Should I be semi-conscious of Settle? Yeah, maybe. Let's attack with these 3 and see what they do. Okay, I think I'm far enough ahead that I can play around to Settle here. The 4-color gates video is long because that deck was awesome. Yeah, we're going to be playing 4-color gates again today because someone donated to put it back, but a bunch of people donated to get it back in the queue and get it bumped up again. Well, if they have a heroic reinforcements, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble here. And by a little bit of trouble, I mean dead. I assume, oh, they have Flower Flourish here too. Yep. I have 4 blockers there, so we're dead. Yikes. Splinter Twin. I mean, even if we play around, even if we don't play around Settle there, they just like block and then untap and kill us still. The end result of that game is identical if I don't play around Settle. Like that game ends up in the exact same spot. Yeah, Dunshare. For every sub you gift is worth 5 points since it costs you $5. I'm gonna keep this. This is better than going to 5. Although that's incredibly awkward. What do you mean about what happened? I didn't fulfill whatever criteria they were looking to fulfill, so I wasn't invited. There's nothing really to find out. They had a specific criteria they were looking to fill, and I was not that. WotC's a private company and they can do whatever they want. Invite whoever they want. It's not a big deal. We've gotten this far without any handouts from Wizards of the Coast. We'll probably get a little bit further without it. Whoop. Okay, this is a good solid curve for us here. Get to go ahead and do this into Knight of Malice. If we hit 2 lands in a row, we can assemble. I have no idea. I don't make decisions at Wizards of the Coast. And I have they don't include me in any of the decisions. All right. Huh. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and attack with this to start, and then pass the turn. Yeah, like one of the things you learn when you're an adult is life's not fair. You need to just get over it. I think we're getting thoroughly outclassed here. Their deck seems sweet. I bet they have heroic reinforcements in their deck too. That's horseshit, PK. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. That's nonsense, PK Jeff, and I'm really upset that people keep using bad, terrible logic like that. There are literally people on that list who don't play Arena, period. So I'm really tired of people justifying it or saying their decision-making process without, like, understanding what's going on. So just, like, sorry. I was... The one and only Valis, I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me around. It's also not best of one. One, there's people on that list that don't play Constructed, period. There's people on that list that don't play Arena really ever. There's people on that list that crap on Arena. So, like, stop justifying all this. Like, I get it, okay? But I'm very annoyed. If anything, I've been a staunch defender of best of one needing to exist and being good for the game. It's very frustrating listening to people like say all this crap that's just like patently incorrect, trying to justify things to me. I don't care. I don't need a justification one way or the other, but just stop it. You're wrong. You don't understand what you're talking about. Just put a note in the comment section, Dunshare. He blames the shuffler too much. Maybe it's because I'm not a shuffler truther. Yeah, like their criteria is obviously not public, but all the people like speculating on this random criteria that I didn't fit, it's just like, well, no, most of the other people, a lot of other people don't fit that criteria either. So like, you know, stop trying to make up this invisible criteria that's specific to me not fitting it, and that other people also don't fit that were invited. So I don't care one way or another because we don't know, but just like don't randomly speculate. Like I said, nobody deserves anything or is entitled to anything. My only complaint about what they did was they definitely slighted my brand by saying larger streamers and then not inviting the actual larger streamers. I'm gonna go ahead and put this into play and pass. So again, they can do whatever they want, but just like I've worked really hard to get where I'm at. So like when they say something like that, it basically says, hey, you're not one of the biggest, even though you've worked to do that, and the numbers say that you are. Wonder how this matchup goes. This is kind of like the litmus test for the format, right? Like, can your mid-range aggro deck punch through here? And I think there's a possibility that on the back of the Night Lord that gives double strike, we can in fact punch through here. No, no reasonable human being is going to be pushing for top 8. Only people who have literal no lives that are going to be playing like mono red and mono white in the best of one ladder for like 80 hours a week are going to be pushing for top 8. The modern NRG tournament, maybe full metal, I'm not sure. It depends on what the weather looks like. If the weather's decent, I'll probably go, but like this next one, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be snowing. That's actually a really good draw, because I get to do this. And then I have to go Midnight Reaper in to protect my Midnight Reaper. Hey, Dunshare, thanks for the sub gifts, I appreciate it. I don't want to trade this here because next turn it'll be a 4-3 and then this will make it a 5-3 or a 5-4. I'm tired of that one too. I'm really tired of that logic too. That's the third piece of nonsense bullshit people keep pushing my way for the reason why I didn't meet the made-up criteria that they don't know about. They wouldn't have invited Jeff because he doesn't bring a new audience with him. Stop it. Get out of here. I've brought a ton of people into Arena. I love how, like, we just, like, sit here and we have a conversation about please stop making up nonsense criteria that doesn't make sense just because, like, it fits your narrative of why I didn't deserve to be there. But, like, stop it. Sorry, I'm just gonna time people out that are talking about it from here on out because I'm very annoyed. Jeff is known in certain circles as the wildcard destroyer. Yeah, basically. All right, am I getting finality next turn? This feels like I must be getting finality next turn, huh? These blocks are really good for me. These are fine. So Dauntless Bodyguard's protecting this, so I'll sack this, keep this alive, and draw a card.
Scars are lessons written in skin.
Awesome, pun count. Yeah, if anything, you could probably argue I've likely gotten Wizards of the Coast more money for Arena than a lot of the people who have come in from other card games, because a lot of other card games bring free-to-play players with them, right? Whereas, like, a lot of the people who are here on my channel were, like, people who are used to spending money on Magic. So, like, by convincing people who are used to spending money on Magic that they should try Arena, they're like, oh, this is great, I'm going to spend money on this like I spend money on Magic, right? I could thoroughly convince people the credit card is the best card. teach by example. Hey, we shall rise. Thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. This gives 1/1 as well, right? So I'm just going to play this and then smash them. So so they have this Assassin's Trophy up. I think I need to take Vivian off out of play here. Interesting. That's a really weird Assassin's Trophy timing. I feel like you'd want to wait and see how I attack here first. Because, like, now I get to attack with these and kill this easily.
I'll be back.
Thanks, Marion. Hope you're having a good weekend. Glad to have you around. You tell DQ me next week at the open if I sleeve up 75 credit card. They might call the cops, though. I don't know about a DQ, but they'll probably call the cops. Alright, so they only have 2 cards left here. So we're definitely playing this Knight out. The question is what I want my second play to be. Is it Valiant Knight or is it the Windgrace here? I almost feel like I want to play the Windgrace here. So that way I can start destroying their stuff. This card's really good with other Vigilant Knights too. And like, if I hit a land next turn, I could potentially like start cracking with, play both of these and crack in. Well, they didn't have Finality, so that's a good start for me. Let's start with Marshal. Marshal. And then I'm going to be a touch conservative and only attack with this one this turn. And then next turn we'll make a big push with the history token. Can this deck do anything about sweepers? Yeah, kill them when they don't draw it. Yeah, I agree. Like, Magic's more fun when you can play decks that you enjoy. So, like, not playing mediocre decks and, like, just playing all decks you can enjoy is definitely much more fun, I think. At least for me personally. So I'm going to cut the Conclave Tribunal because they have a lot of enchantment removal. I actually think we're probably just supposed to pivot into Black-White Knights because, like, Knight of Autumn Tocatli's a non-bow, right? I probably don't mind Baffling End here. Baffling End's nice because even if they kill the Baffling End, they don't actually get the creature back that's under it. They just get a 3/3 instead, which is reasonable. I think I'm going to leave 1 Assurance. Seems fine. Fun fact, when you do something that kicked out of a tournament, they enroll you in the tournament to DQ you, so it's on record, and to ban you. If you don't have a DCI number, they give you one and then DQ you. Yeah, that's great, Beetle. Because of you, I spent $400 on Arena and don't regret a cent. Have your percentage com. Figure out X, you're the mathematician. Thanks, Frago. It's a real shame. It's a real shame they don't have like a referral code for content creators. You can just like reference, like Fortnite does that, right? Like you can, when you make a purchase, you can list a content creator with that purchase. Well, like, I don't think Tithe Taker is very good in the green-black matchup, right? And I think we have Adanto Vanguard on our sideboard for like the Clarion, Kaya's Wrath, Cleansing Nova sweeper matchups, and I think that's fine. I think Adanto Vanguard's better than Tithe Taker against those sweepers. Meme category, not fan favorite. I think it's a little bit worse power level wise than the other fan favorite. This hand hits a third land, it's really good. If we hit lands 3-4, we're gonna be absurd. If we even just hit 3-on-3, we can start curving these out, which is nice. God, the unclaimed territories have not been kind. I think I actually lead on Sunpetal Grove here, so that way I can go turn 2, Sunpetal Grove, Dauntless, turn 3, Unclaimed Territory, History guaranteed. Hey, Kajone. I don't think I saw it pop up. Sorry if I missed it. If you're on the desktop, you need to refresh your browser page to send the notification through sometimes. Grand Prix don't exist anymore. They're Magic Fests, by the way. Well, so, like, I feel like this aggro deck's a reasonable way to approach an aggro deck in this format, just because, like, if they go Wild Growth Walker into a thing, because we have things like Valiant Knight and Midnight Reaper and History of Benalia, we can actually push through large burst damage to, like, kill them from 30 or 40, right? The event at the Magic Fest is called a Grand Prix, really? Is that a branding thing? I didn't know that. I thought we rebranded them entirely. So at this point, even if they have like a Finality next turn, I get to play Midnight Reaper, so Finality would draw me 2 cards. That's probably fine. Yeah, the audio on Twitch has been awkward lately. So I'm going to Baffling End their Wild Growth Walker, I think, here, and then probably smash them. Do I want to Baffling End the Wild Growth Walker or the Merfolk Branch Walker? So they obviously don't have another. Yeah, I'm just gonna exile this one. I was gonna say, they don't have another thing, and like the 2-4 only trades with this one, but next turn the 2-4 is gonna be a giant brick wall, right? Okay, just attack with these. Guess I can attack with this too. They trade here. I could hit a land, play Knight of Malice. Yeah, that's probably worthwhile. I think Fan Flash is fine. It's got a lot of good tools in it. Untapped lands. That's gonna be a little bit too late here. Oh, okay. Sweet. Come on, land. Give me a land, please. 4th one. We kept a 3-lander on the draw this game, right? Yeah, because we're up a game. Perfect. Yeah, I added Clarions and updated the mana base last night after I signed off. Nice 2-1. Yeah, the opponent looks to be playing like traditional, just straight green-black, so it looks like they probably don't have any cards from the latest set. Which we're still silver on the ladder, so seeing stuff like that doesn't really surprise me. Yeah, Tocatli's very good here. They're one land away from Finality, so if they have Finality here, we're gonna die probably. But I don't really have any tools to let me play around that. I need to hope they like miss for one more turn so I can get like this down to keep both Valiant Knights alive through Finality, but I'm gonna concede to Finality here. They'll have a 5-6 left over and a Ravenous Chupacabra in hand, and we're just like not gonna have enough to push through. I guess if I draw Tocatli on our guard next turn, I'll keep playing. Yeah, unfortunate. Needed them to brick for one more turn here. We stumbled for a little bit too long and just couldn't get our things onto the table to make our board big enough to survive that. Yep. And they just have Ravenous Chupacabra and other things here. Why didn't I attack my three power creatures into their 3/4? Is that the question? So if I attacked with Malice, they could triple block it, and then I'd be trading my 4/3 first striker for their 3/4. So if they triple blocked my Knight of Malice, I would have been trading my 4/3 for their 3/4, and I don't think that's a good trade for me. I have no idea how the ranking system in this application works. I'm just playing matches of Magic. So yeah, Malice was the only thing I possibly could have attacked with the previous turn, and that one was not good because they just triple block. I mean, I get face damage assuming I attack with absolutely everything there. So I could have swung all, but with the additional Lord in my hand, I get that like chat wants to like make a decision based on the fact like you knew Finality was coming, but like pushing extra points of damage in there doesn't matter if I get Finality because I still can't win from that position. They lose value on the Finality, but like my board is still gone and I have nothing else going on. We just needed to hope they missed the land for one more turn, so that way we could get our board bigger. This afternoon taught me that getting Declan to try and do anything is not a great idea. He was not super cooperative. It'll be up on YouTube if you want to watch him muck around. Continuing to throw my Bezo Bucks your way. My son took Kerberos to Healy Tefidum last night and won it all. Top prize was a foil blood crypt. Well, thank you, Kenjo. I appreciate the second month in a row. Hope you're having a good weekend. Tell your son I said congrats. Instead of just taking a crap on a card that we're playing, say, this card seems bad because this other card we could be playing is better for these reasons. Try and be constructive and specific. If you don't think a card makes sense, talk about why it doesn't make sense. Theory craft it. Let us like engage and have a conversation. I did not see the video with Gavin and Verhey. Yeah, that's a good. Ian made a great point. There are people play around Find Finality by making bad attacks. You just use the Find part and like stuff them in a box. This is a really sweet curve here. Just like turn 2 4/3 first striker basically. Yeah, the culture that like Twitch has generated is basically people expect to like come into a chat and say like, is this idea good or bad? Tell me why it's good or bad. And instead, I prefer people like take a second, like think about it themselves, right? Like this could be good because, or could be bad because. So I think I just Midnight Reaper here and then play this tapped. So this way the Chupacabra next turn draws me a card. The work of our 4/3 attack on turn 2 mostly gone. Yikes. Need like a Tecatli Honor Guard now. Probably dead here. I don't really want to play something out into the Chupacabra, so I'm going to play this and pass for now. Why do we need an alternative? The whys are important, Chalky. Stop and think critically and don't just write cards off without having reasons for them. It's very easy to fall into this trap of constantly making changes just because cards seem good. This is Magic. There are thousands of cards, most of which are the colors of decks that you're playing. So if you don't have a good reason to meaningfully put a card into a deck, don't just make a random change. Make changes to solve problems. Think about what your deck is doing and say, we're fixing this problem by making this change. So several people have mentioned Assura. Several people have mentioned Assura Symbol so far, and none of them have given me a good reason for why it's bad or what problem they're fixing by suggesting a change for it. Overzealous Axe, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. I think we're dead, Declan. You came in here and I immediately lost. I don't get it.
No, you played and broke though. Played and broke, Daddy. Daddy, you broke.
So here's Quaddle is the first one. Okay, let me get him out of here. Oh, did they attack with the Wild Growth Walker there? I just assumed we were dead and conceded. I don't think it mattered. They had infinite cards. So like to address the point, someone said Radiant Destiny would be better than Assura Symbol. Our creatures don't have a problem surviving because of First Strike, and Vigil, it seems like it covers that basis while making our whole deck stronger. So that's an interesting take. Assura Symbol is a card that is both a combat trick to protect our cards though, and it's an effect that it can provide threats on its own, right? Like a card like Radiant Destiny isn't an individually powerful card, right? Like it's only good on the basis of synergy. But the fact that we like need other cards with it, Radiant Destiny is like not negligible. But on the other side, like having more anthems past just the 8 that we have doesn't seem unreasonable. Also, it's kind of crazy the amount of green-black we've been playing again since we started playing on the ladder. Like it feels like almost every other match is green-black or Sultai. Thanks for the great content. I appreciate the 5 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Think there's room for mill decks in Arena? No, mill's a really inefficient win condition. That's generally much worse than just like trying to attack your opponent. What deck do you think is the best for beating the mid-range Sultai shells? 4-color gates. 4-color gates is really, really good against the Sultai decks in my experience. Alright, time for 4-3s. Now, that was part of the reason we played gates for a little over 2 hours last night. So, because it was very good. That's true. Pirates is good against Sultai as well. We played that for almost 2 hours yesterday too. Yeah, Thief of Sanity is very good in the Sultai mirror. Yikes. So we might actually be able to punch through this here with the back of this, on the back of this History of Benalia. So the Knight of Autumns give us an extra turn here. So if they don't have any reach or another flying creature here, we can play Knight next turn, gain 4 up to 9 to not be dead in the air, and then like have a big punch in the back of History the following turn. So if they don't, so ideally here, we want to draw a tapped land this turn or an untapped land the following turn. We're going to play this, gain 4, and then we can play Valiant Knight the turn after that. That might not be good enough though. I think we're still going to end up short here, right? Because they're going to have at least 4 blockers next turn. So our 2 smallest attackers will only be able to hit them for 10 here. If I draw Conclave Tribunal, I could not die to the Rekindling Phoenixes. Tecatli does not impact Krasis at all. Alright, here we go. Tecatli's one of our best ways to interact in a matchup like this, for sure. I left so I boarded out the Conclave Tribunal against the last green black opponent, but I'm bringing them in here because we need a way to take Rekindling Phoenix off the table. I don't think I have room for both Baffling End and Conclave Tribunal. I always love when people talk about matchups and like someone, this just happened in chat. Someone was like, what beats Sultai? What's good against Sultai on average? And I'm like, 4-color gates is pretty reasonable against that on average. And a Sultai player pipes up with, well, when I have my best draw, I'm good against the gate stack. And it's just like, well, obviously your deck's best draw is going to be good against a lot of things. Like, this is why we play Magic, and it's not like chess or checkers, right? Or some other really low, no variance game. Like, they're good matchups. They're not 100-0 matchups. It's one of the things that makes Magic interesting is everything has a chance. Like, when I say the Gates deck is favored against Sultai, it's just like when I say Sultai is probably favored against a deck like the one I'm playing. It doesn't mean this deck is 0% to beat Sultai, but it means if I play 100 games, I'm going to expect Sultai to win 60 of them in this matchup or more. Sign me up. This hand's great. Never mulligan, turn 2 Tocatli in this matchup. It's a great use of the Butt Jeff emote. What an A+ use of the Butt Jeff emote. We added Butt Jeff, and I replaced the old Friendly Fire emote with a Beep Beep emote for subs here that didn't see those get added last night. The Convoke is extremely beneficial. This deck plays a bunch of creatures to the board very quickly, so Conclave Tribunal allows you to generate double spell turns early. Good job on the YouTube only modern vid. I thought they wouldn't be as good as chat, but they're entertaining. Well, thank you, Heat. Unfortunately, those are not going to be a regular feature here. The YouTube only content just doesn't make any money, unfortunately. This card gives all of our creatures +1/+1. This is not a knight, it's a soldier. It's the 4 mana lord that only pumps up knights. Nice stroke. Yeah, I like 4-color gates a lot. We had someone donate to get it back in again today, so we're gonna play some more of the Knights deck here. We have some we have Sultai Nexus coming up next, and then 4-color gates that we're gonna wrap up with Bantus. Why is it Jeff rather than Jeff? Because I always envision whenever people are giving me a "but wait" moment, or the actually folks, that they're saying it in that manner. Well, like fully produced content, there isn't more value. To start with, to address your statement, there is not more value in fully produced content. Fully produced content is better and higher quality, but it's also infinitely more work. The amount of time that goes into producing a highly produced video is like, it's like an hour per minute for heavily edited videos. It is an absurd amount. And like, even a big YouTube channel, like if you spend that amount of money as a big amount of time as a big Twitch channel, you'll likely make far more on Twitch. Jiaosu, there's a big difference between 10 mana and 6 mana though. It's like not even really a comparison in my mind. Like what the difference is between 10 mana and 6 mana. Like Jiaosu is 10 mana to kick it up. If they have a bunch of Phoenixes here, we could be in trouble. But if their hand is weak to Tocatli, and many of their hands are weak to Tocatli, we're gonna be in a good spot here. Okay, that bodes well for our hero. Extra land here is excellent. It means I get to go night. I'll be playing Izzet Drakes anytime soon. There is an Izzet Drakes deck in the queue. I don't know how close it is to the top. You can always find the decks that are going to be coming up on my stream in the deck queue on my website. Yeah, but you're not listening to the words that I'm saying, Chalky Chalksin. I'm saying that if you're someone with a large following, maybe I should have played another Tecatli here as a safety net to play around this. If you're someone who has a large following and you spend 80 hours on Twitch or 80 hours on YouTube, you're probably going to be more rewarded for the 80 hours you spend on Twitch. Was my point. Should you cut Guild Summit versus Esper? Like Esper Control, or like what kind of Esper? Sometimes it gives it up early, Scorch. Thank you for being around for almost a year. We are not in a position to beat a finality this game. Water, wet, sky blue, grass green, etc. Wow, I probably can't beat that card either, huh? No, it's one of your best cards in that matchup, Pythrion. Cutting it is nonsense. Like, you want all of your card advantage against the control decks. Rate a sideboard guide. Usually I do sideboard guides for a $25 donation delta. Riot is not an enter the battlefield effect. What? All right, I'm not beating finality anyway, so I'm just like putting my last card into play here. Screw it. So, Chalky, we're not an answer deck. We're not a mid-range deck. So like you're saying we have a weakness to things, but like the actual answer to what you're talking about is we don't have the tools to close the game. So like not every deck is a control deck that's looking to answer every card the opponent plays out. There are a lot of decks in Magic like this one that are aggressively slanted, that are looking to end the game before their opponents get through to their big expensive cards or have time to leverage their cards by attacking. So, rather than saying, let's put more answers in our deck and try and turn our aggro deck into a mid-range deck, I would say, instead, let's just, like, look at our deck and talk about why it's not good enough as an aggro deck, and if we can make it a good enough aggro deck. Yep, just did. Let's play. Let's lose one more match here against Green Black. Our next 3 decks should have pretty reasonable green-black matchups, which I'm sure means that we'll stop playing against green-black that we played against for like the last 7 matches here. Because that's how it goes. Details on how my deck submissions work can be found here. Oh, Brickett, I missed it. Ooh. I was ranting about something. Do I keep this on the draw? Maybe. For a 4-color gate sideboard guide, put on the site for all to see. Yeah. When I do board guides for things on the site, I always link them there. Thank you, Brickett. I really need to have some kind of noise play when donations happen so I don't miss them. Well, so like again, there's a bunch of people in chat that are misassessing the role of what this deck is doing. There's a bunch of people that keep saying, we need more answers, we need more answers, we need more answers. This isn't an answer deck. This is an aggro deck. If you want to play an answer deck, you need to play something that's not this. So like, if this deck isn't efficient as an aggro deck, we should just play something else. I don't think that's true, Speed. The fact that their Wild Growth Walker was a little bit bigger wasn't really that big of a deal, I don't think. Is there any reason to play strict Golgari instead of Sultai? No, not really. Yeah, someone did already, Delta. I'll get that up on the site sometime this week. It's like, we already have 4 removal spells in our deck, chat. There's already 4 pieces of interaction. Every piece of interaction you put into your deck slows you down and pushes you more into a mid-range deck. And as you become more of a mid-range deck, you gotta look at it and go, okay, now what is this mid-range deck doing that's meaningful in comparison to the other good mid-range decks in the format? So like, if I'm packing a bunch of removal in this deck to be interactive, what's the compelling reason to play this deck over Esper midrange or Green Black Rock, etc.? Am I dead next turn? I might just be dead next turn. If they play enough instant sorceries and pump this up and then adapt this, we could die. Do I still play on the SCG circuit? No, not really. I don't play much Paper Magic anymore. Paper Magic's really tedious compared to digital Magic, and it's expensive. I only really do like local paper events these days, local-ish. So like the NRG circuit is something that's in the Midwest, so I'll probably play those. I think I'm gonna play their March tournament. I might play their February tournament. It's close-ish if the weather's good. Sure, Chalky. So the takeaway there is that the deck is bad. Not that we need to make it a mid-range deck, which that kind of feels like my comparison. This feels like a really clunky, mediocre deck, which is fine. It's okay to just be like, our deck comes up short and it's not a good aggro deck. But like playing a 4-mana curve topper is like not unreasonable in an aggro deck, right? I think chat's gonna get their wish and we're gonna board into a mid-range deck this game, just like put in a bunch of removal spells. Because we definitely can't race what the opponent has going on. Am I gonna watch the Super Bowl? No. No vested interest in sporting events. Yeah, I usually do a stream every weekend. At some point over the weekend. Usually Saturday's better for me, because like if I run late tonight, I can sleep in tomorrow. Whereas like if I run late on Sunday night, I can't sleep in Monday morning because I have to work. Seems pretty good. Any hand where you get to go like 2-drop Knight in the history is real good on the play. Yeah, the 4-color Gates deck is sweet. We're actually going to run it back again today. We're so close to being perfect. I guess this hand's still absurd, right? I get to go like turn 3 history, turn 4 history, Dauntless. My favorite critique from the Twitch chat peanut gallery is that are the magic buzzwords. Twitch chat makes me feel like I'm reliving my office days sometimes. This deck needs to be more agile. Can we all get together and talk about how we make this deck more agile so we can meet the deadlines? Like, it's like, come on now. Instead of just like talking in buzzwords, can we be specific? Don't just tell me the deck is clunky or cute. Say these are the problems that it has, and this is why they seem like they're problems. Add more tempo. Deck needs more tempo. It's too real, please stop. Please stop. I'm just using this now because hopefully they're dead next turn. They have a fiery cannonade, we'll just cry silently. Yeah, I think this deck is just, we've been talking about how bad this style of deck is all season, right? Like this is, I would classify this as a mid-range aggro deck. It's a deck that's low-ish to the ground, but not mono red low. But it's also not quite big enough that it can compete and keep up with what the Sultai decks are doing. So meeting these Sultai decks in the middle without having an efficient way to punch through your last points of damage is like not where you want to be in this format, in my experience. Our draws feel like last season's Boros Angels, but we never draw our flyers. Yeah, we've played a lot of Gruul and Naya decks that feel very similar, right? I feel like if you want to play this kind of mid-rangey aggressive game where like you have some aggressive curves, but you need to get into like, turn 7, 8, 9 sometimes, you really need that pocket of evasive creatures so you can go over the top of the Sultai deck in the literal sense. We need to diversify the mana portfolio and optimize the creature paradigm. That's fantastic. A plus buzzwords. I guess on the draw, this hand's probably pretty reasonable. The Insanity is very, very good against Sultai. They have a minimal amount of removal spells, and anytime it connects, it's like drawing 2 cards a turn. If we outsource our deck building and analysis, we could use big data to optimize. I'd like to think that somewhere there is 800 number Magic players can pay $1.50 a minute to hear a woman whisper tempo, aggro control, Stone Rainier, Karu, Sly. I think I'm okay with this trade, right? Like, they traded a dive down for my Dauntless Bodyguard, and my Bodyguard got to draw a card, and, like, them losing a dive down while my hand is full of removal spells seems, like, very good for me. I'm like, I get why they want to do it, right? Because they want to, like, put a bunch of instants and sorceries in here so they can, like, adapt to this Terramander ASAP, but we're pretty okay with this exchange. Pierce me, baby. Wow, they boarded in Niv Mizzet against us. That's interesting. What if they just have Niv in their main and didn't board it out? Yeah, that's a good point, Duo. And, like, that's one of the reasons Dive Down is so good, right? Like, Dive Down is good because it's a combat trick in addition to being a removal spell. So I'm going to lead on Baffling End here, so that way, well, I guess, if they have another dive down, we're going to be sad here. It's similar to every Gruul deck, and Gruul isn't overly, that's not what I said at all. I said it was similar to the mid-range aggressive decks, and that mid-range aggressive decks aren't good in this format. There are Gruul iterations, like the Gruul deck that you could find on my website, that focus a little bit more on flying creatures that are very reasonable, because if your deck can't end the game very quickly, you need to be able to go up over the top of things. So playing my Baffling End here into a dive down ended up being really bad. So, cause like now, if I would have held this Baffling End, I could have had a double removal spell turn this turn. So I should have played Conclave Tribunal last turn, probably. I think that was a mistake on my part to play this first. I'd be in a better spot if they didn't have any creatures here, right? Alright, so now if they don't have a dive down or a spell pierce, I can take both their threats out of play here. All right, if they're on nothing, we're actually in an okay spot. They have another threat. We're gonna be in trouble. Hopefully they just draw a bunch of Crackling Drakes since we have that one bound up. Well, the tournament this week is a team tournament, which makes analysis even like more meaningless than like the normal save. Well, I appreciate you just watching here, T-Dub, and thanks for checking out some ads and chipping in my way. Hope you're having a good weekend. Solid, not digit. In fact, solid, they're dead on board now. Sweet. All right. Yeah, I missequenced my removal spells a little bit there. But things ended up working out for us. Is it free? Yeah, wine is free. I'm told it works on OS X. I haven't done it myself personally. Here's a guide on Reddit from someone that said it works for them. Let's play one more match with this before we move on. Maybe find another non-Sultai deck. You can find my articles on coolstuffinc.com every single week. You can also find a link here directly to my articles. An anonymous gifter, thank you for your generosity. Perfect. Have a tapped land to play on one. Nice, Delta. Alright, sweet. Not Sultai. Just see a little bit of variety here. Generally speaking, it's funny that we've been talking about mid-range aggro being bad. I actually tend to like mid-range aggro as my preferred archetype in Magic. Mid-range aggro decks have like some staying power as you get into the late game, but they also have like aggressive draws to run people out. So like decks that can occasionally get under people but still have like punch in the late game are one of my preferred play styles. Neat red-black build from the opponent here. So this has Menace and Death Touch. So I'm going to play another Knight of Malice out here so I can double block this with first strike creatures. Is Sultai mid-range aggro? No, not really. The Sultai deck like grinds as it goes along. All right, that's a little bit scary. Still let him generate a lot of card advantage. I think I just get my race on here. I think I'm just gonna play this and then crack them for 8. Because with the Theater of Horrors in play, my opponent's gonna be more favored to win as the game goes along. So I just want to be as aggressive as possible here, I think. Mid-range aggro doesn't really exist in Modern, which is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of Modern. Alright, so this is putting me to 12, and then these attack for 8, 9. I think I'm just hitting them with both of these and hoping not to die next turn. We could definitely die next turn. This block here bodes well for us. It hopefully means this card's a blank. Wow, that's super defensive. Okay. Okay. Holy crap, that's good. I was like, why are they doing that? That doesn't seem very good. Nope, it is in fact very, very good. That, yikes. Wow, that was, yep, all right, well, we're dead. Opponent's deck is sweet. I am on the fence on if this card is constructed playable. I guess, like, it doesn't block anything. It does 1 damage per turn. It enables Riot really well, right? Don't waste time aiming. That's great. We played, the red-black aggro deck on my website has 2 Pestilence Spirits in the sideboard for killing larger creatures. This was very good out of that board. We're short green mana for this Knight of Autumn. Hopefully we draw a land in our next 2 draws. So like next turn I'd like to go like Knight, and then the following turn I'd like to play Valiant Knight out to like make my squad bigger. Yeah, that's fair. It gets like 4 to 5 points of damage in. A mid-range aggro deck that's existed at any time in the history of Magic the Gathering. I mean, this what I'm playing right now is a mid-range aggro deck. It's a deck, what I would classify as a mid-range aggro deck is a deck that has aggressive curves, but occasionally, holy crap, weird chat is just, is that, wow, woof, woof. Yikes, that was, ugh, ugh, ugh. Yep. I like don't even really want to block here because I'll get to draw a card. That was a good hit. Too strong, please nerf. Game's opponent. Yeah, like I said, so let's just give a concise wrap up on why I wasn't a fan of what this deck was doing. This deck, it just feels like it's too middling as far as aggro decks are concerned. It feels like we don't have the ability to consistently get under people. The only time we have really aggressive draws are when we have generally multiple History of Benalias, and as this deck moves into the mid game, it doesn't have enough interaction to be good to keep up with what the opponents are doing, and it doesn't have an efficient manner to punch through stalled boards outside of this Valiant Knight, and there's so much efficient removal in this format that we're not going to be able to play this card out and hope to expect to have it live. So, just feels real middling, like you can't be meeting the Sultai deck in the middle. It's just gonna dumpster you between Wild Growth Walker preventing your early game from being relevant. Like, Wild Growth Walker basically makes all of these cards not be Magic cards, and then their Crasises and Vivians just outdrawing you in the mid to late game means that they're just gonna out-quality you a lot of the time. And there's a bunch of people in chat right now, like, trying to fix things by making the deck more mid-rangey. You're just gonna get put in a little box and stuffed in the ground by Sultai. This is a much worse mid-range deck than Sultai will ever be. And you're just almost never gonna be competitive against them. You're gonna need Tecatli Honor Guard on 2, and you're gonna have to